Hi, my name's Adam John Richardson. Let's talk about virtual machines. Virtual machines play an incredibly important role in all we do in today's IT environment. So let's dig in. Let's start with a rather technical definition. I wrote this, let's see what you think. A virtualized environment managed by a hypervisor that efficiently provides access to the CPU, memory, network interfaces, and storage capabilities of the host hardware resources. It's one thing to hear all those words, see them all there. I think it helps if we think about it a little bit differently. Let's think about a virtual machine as being similar to the Matrix for computer operating systems. Come on, the Matrix, you all know the Matrix. I love this movie. It's in my top 10. Should be in yours too. And you see this robot here. This robot represents the operating system. And in this virtualized environment, the robot sees the CPU, sees the SSD, sees the memory, and it thinks, all of this is mine. I have direct access to the hardware. As far as the robot is concerned, this is all just for the robot, for the operating system. However, it's a virtualized environment. We've watched The Matrix. We know what's actually going on. In this case, all of these are abstractions. The operating system doesn't actually have full control over the CPU or the SSD or memory. It's dealing with abstractions in a way so that we can manage the access through use of a hypervisor. So if you want to read a little bit more on the historical foundations, I encourage you to. It's a great paper. I'm not just saying that. Popek and Goldberg paper, Communications of the ACM in 1974. The title's Formal Requirements for Virtualizable Third Generation Architectures. Come on, the title's drawn you in already. The paper specifically talks about a virtual machine monitor. That's before we actually had the term hypervisor. So when you read it, think hypervisor. And when it speaks of a virtual machine in the paper, the authors say a virtual machine is an efficient, isolated duplicate of the real machine. Three properties you're typically thinking of: efficiency. If it's incredibly slow, it's of no real practical value. Resource control. If it can actually break things on the real system, on the actual hardware, then that's not really helpful. And equivalence. There should seem to be an equivalence between the virtualized environments. So this is a great paper to dig into and learn a little bit more. One other thing we should probably quickly cover, I've used the word hypervisor a few times. The way to think about a hypervisor, operating systems supervise all the processes that are running on a particular system. Well, what do you call the thing that supervises the supervisors? Well, that's a hypervisor. That's where it gets its name from. We have a hypervisor which manages the resources and access for the various operating systems running in the virtualized environments, in the virtual machines. We tend to refer to them by two different types. Type 1 just means, as you can see on the screen here in the left, type 1 hypervisors are on first. There's the hardware, and then the first layer on, it's the hypervisor, and then we build virtual machines on it. If, however, for instance, perhaps you have virtualized capability already set up on your system, you might be running VirtualBox, you might be running VMware, you might be running Parallels if you're on a Mac. If there's already an operating system in place and then you install the hypervisor, then we call it a type 2 because it's on second. That's a mnemonic to help you remember. So there's your quick look at virtual machines. In a future video, I will walk through actually setting one up. I hope this helps, and I'll see you later.